All right, I am live. I would say hello, everybody, but nobody's here. So when you get here, hello to you. And while nobody's here, I need to get set up on a few things. So as I usually do, I will be doing a few things that basically need to be done once I start. I hate that it has to go in that order, but that's the way it is. So let me add this here. And I saved that there. Okay, we go back to some details. Let's put a new Discord link in there for people who are considering or want to join Discord. There's a new Discord link. And that's in there. And put this as a live stream. And add this here. Okay. And if you're here, thank you for being here. I can't see you yet. I don't know who's here, but I'm still working on it. Oh, there's a bunch of people here. Thank you guys so much for being here. Happy Saturday to you. And if you're on the other side of the planet when it's Sunday, then happy Sunday to you. Let's see. I've got to put one other thing, and I don't know how to access it. Let me try this. Nope, that's not what I want to do. This is how I copy the invitation. And I need to put that invitation. Uh-oh, that was weird. What was that? Anyways, I need to put that. I wanted to put the Zoom link in here. Let me grab the Zoom link from over here. And I'm almost ready. So if you guys can just bear with me, I would really appreciate it. Okay. Copy. And now I'm putting the Zoom link in the actual video. Let me get back to the video. Okay, edit video. And there's 46 people here. Great. All right, now the Zoom link is there in case you want the link versus just the passcode and the Zoom ID. And let me do one more thing because someone wanted to watch and was having difficulty watching, so I'm going to put the link to the actual video for this person. And where is this person? Paste. And turn off that. Okay, cool. We should be good to go. And let me find the video so I can see you guys. There we are. 54 people. So yes, it's Saturday, and I had a pretty amazing guest on Friday that I interviewed. This is probably a UFO person that has the most evidence of UFOs on the planet. He has so many videos. He has videos of aliens in his house. It's kind of spooky. I was kind of spooked out watching it the first time. He has pictures. We go over all of it. In the Discord a few days ago, I even posted one of his videos, and it shows an alien peeking around the corner, and you see it blinking its eye. So, on that note, I'm here. My darling wife is next to me on the chat. And we are ready to get started. Alba Mon is here. Alba had an NDE. She has some circumstances. I think they're medical legal that she was here before and she cannot show her face. So she told a little bit about her NDE last time. And we'll see what's going on and we can kind of carry on with that story.
Hi,
Alba, are
Jeff.
you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, and Alba is all the way in Germany, right, Alba?
Yes, I'm actually in zone with America right now. It's late at night,
Mm-hmm.
about 2 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
in the morning, and I'm excited to join.
What part are you in Berlin?
No,
What city are you in?
um, actually, before we run out of time, like last time, I would like to um, say a few words about the meanings of NDEs if you want
Okay, yeah. I'm
me
so
to get.
sorry that I cut you off last time.
No,
I give
no
everybody
problem.
10. I'm not keeping time yet. I usually don't start keeping time until I just actually get into the guest once they start sharing, so I don't mind chit-chatting. I won't cut you short. But yeah, I just try to keep it to 10 minutes to everybody so everybody can get a chance. But all right, so what would you like to talk about this week?
Well, the first topic I want to mention is that many NDEers are just sent back without, having a choice, but some
Mm-hmm.
of them are um, getting some information like two typical sentences are you still have tasks to fulfill,
Yes.
or there's some work to do, or the other sentence would be it's not your time yet.
Mm-hmm.
And in my NDE, I was actually informed why people are told these things. And the situation I was in was first, I had a telepathic conversation with my daughter,
Okay.
and she was grown up. I told you a little bit about that part last time.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually appeared to me visually in the second stage of my NDE as a grown up person with old fashioned clothes and old fashioned hairdo. I was irritated about that. It didn't feel as natural as the telepathic conversation that I'd experienced before. But she tried to still convince me that I should forgive my husband, which um, I didn't get into it. But the problem was that I, of course, knew that my daughter was in life danger. She had been clinically dead when we saw her on the ultrasound. I had to see her little precious heart without any movement on the monitor. And it was something I will never forget for my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just horrible to say the least. And that's where all my negative emotions came from.
Right.
And in the third part of my NDE, I was taken to the Hall of Truth. And I was taken there by my daughter physically, I mean, audibly whispering a sentence. She didn't use a voice, but it was really a whispered sentence. And this sentence that she told me um, just ran through my whole body, inside my body, actually. I felt it inside my bones like a bolt of lightning or a flash of fiery energy. And it can't um, totally catapulted me out of my ICU room that I had been in uh, pretty comfortably, to be honest, in the first two stages of my NDE. And all of a sudden, I was uh, somewhere else, somewhere totally else. And I was standing upright, and I realized I was in a hall of truth, because in this realm, there were many, many uncomfortable truths presented to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shown um, the scales of life, the way that our life results are measured, judged, and analyzed on the other side. I was more or less allowed to look into our two different characters, into my husband's character with all his strengths and weaknesses, and mine as well. So that was the first stage. And when I had completed, you know, understanding what was going on, I was presented the scales of life, and they were 3 times as big as I saw my husband and me standing. Um, we were standing about 7 meters away, so it was about 20 feet away from me, and I myself was standing upright, and about 7 more meters further away was the scales of life, and they were huge. I mean, they were immense, and they were 3 times as big as we were, even though they were a lot further away. And when they appeared, I sensed, um, in the very first moment I got a glimpse of the scales of life, I was totally, yeah, shocked and frightened, to be honest. I knew that this was an authority that I couldn't, um, you know, I couldn't demand anything from, and it was obvious to me that it would be a flawless result that I would be presented with. And my problem was that I felt that I had no authority at all. And um, and I also felt that it was irreversible. Like there was something that I couldn't change anymore. Now that my life result was being calculated, I realized that no matter how much I would have liked to change things, I wasn't allowed to anymore. I guess because the life result was over in a way, you know, like a math problem is done with, and you get a starting point, and when you're done with the result, then you can't change anything anymore. You can say, oh, I'd like to add some more numbers on the top, you know, that's done with. And the most touching thing about the third stage of my NDE were all these huge emotions that I was in, like 4 very different emotions. And something that really shocked me was that I realized I had a lot of heat in my chest area. And first I was just trying to, you know, analyze where I was and try to grasp my surroundings. And I was in this hall and it had no edges and no ends. That's how it appeared to me.
Let me
And
stop you there real quick.
mhm.
So, do you think the Hall of Records was anything like the Akashic Records? And you started to describe it a little bit. Can you describe it more for us?
I don't know anything about these Akasha records. I have never heard about them. I can just say it was the Hall of Truth. So for me, it was not something about records. It was just about the truth. And what I was trying to say is that I was sure, especially afterwards, after my NDE, you know, in the months and weeks after that, of course, I was thinking about what I had experienced. And one of the things that I realized was that that's the way people are not informed, generally speaking, in an NDE. That was an exceptional situation that I was allowed to see my husband's life result and my life result. And I think the exceptional thing was that I was allowed to see my life result in comparison to someone else's. And during this presentation, so to speak, I realized, especially afterwards, that this must be the reason why so many people are sent back, either with the information that they still have some work to do, which means that if you look at life as a test, like a written exam, this means that maybe there are 8 or 10, you know, difficult problems or questions asked, and you as a student must answer them as best as you can, you know, to the most utmost of your knowledge, your personal abilities. And so these people that are returned with this, you know, information, there's some work to do, means, okay, they might have done 3, 4, or 5 of their problems, but concerning the rest of the problems they had not had any chance to deal with yet, you know, just time wise,
Mm-hmm.
their life result might be not good enough, you know, just looking at their abilities. Eternity would like for them to do a better job, so to speak, and to return to, fulfill the rest of the questions with their own specific answers, with their own personal answers to problems in life. And I also realized that for people who have just got the information, it's not your time yet. It means that for this written exam, this life test, you have a certain time to fulfill the questions, just to get enough time to fill in the questions. And this might mean maybe they have answered, all 8 or 10 of those questions, but the answers are not sufficient enough to give a good enough life result to be positive. I think it's all about getting a positive life result back to eternity. And that's what I try to start with. So I think an NDE, what is an NDE's purpose, generally speaking? I think the problem is normally, you know, you die, which means that your system shuts down, just like a laptop. When you're working on it, you suddenly realize, oh my God, it just starts to shut down. So what are you doing as a sensible person? You take a memory stick, you plug it in, and you try to take off as much relevant information as possible, which means that's exactly what happens in the life reviews so many NDEers experience. This is just a way to save, so to speak, the answers that you have already given in this written exam before they are erased, which means that our body is just something like a laptop or a tool that we are given by eternity to, finish some tests. You could say that it's like if you want to get the driver's license. You want to reach this goal, of course, but before you can do the exam, you must get some hours, you must get some exercise, and you do some routes and some routines with some teachers. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's exactly what I think life is about. It's just uh, a field of tests, just to try to get to an exam or to get a good life result so that you can start from there. And a lot of people are wondering about predetermination. So I want to get into that just for a second. I think predetermination is a given, looking at the different difficulties each person has to face during the lifetime. This is just like 8 or 10 difficult questions in an exam, for instance, a difficult childhood or whatever, a very bad relationship with a close relative, stuff like that. Or in my case, it was the death of my child. And so I had some premonition dreams before this whole accident occurred, and part of it was like years before this even happened, and years before I could know that my daughter would die. I had already gotten premonition dreams with exact details about, for instance, that she was, her bodily functions wouldn't be sufficient anymore due to some circumstances. So she had to be in an incubator, for instance. So there were a lot of specific details that were given to me. And in one of those dreams, I was even informed that an angel had touched my belly. An angel with a sword had touched my belly. I don't know if it was meant just with his hand or with his sword. I don't know that. But I remember in this dream, I saw the blade of this sword shining, and you know, um, it was hard for my eyes to look at it. So
Yeah.
it was trying to give me a signal in a way. And in the stream, it said I was getting this angel's actions to warn me and to console me. So those were the two, reasons why I had these dreams. But
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is that even though some major steps in our life might be, predestined, just to make sure we have all these different questions that we have to work with. At the other hand, it's obvious that all life reviews show and prove actually that our life is extremely important, that nothing in our reactions, how we react to all these difficult hardships that we are confronted with, all of us in our lives, it's just out of our own free will. It's our part, how we react to it, what we do with it, how we define it, and how we define ourselves, coming out of these situations.
Right.
And that's the most important thing. And I think it means that our lives or our character traits or whatever we experience is extremely important to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And you could compare it to, yeah, a harvest in a way. So
Mm-hmm.
our character potential is like sowing seeds, and what we bring back with us to eternity is the harvest that we were able to get, like the questions that we were able to give, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop you there, Alba. But maybe you can come back next week because there's questions I want to ask you, but we just run out of time, and I even gave you extra time, almost 5 minutes extra.
Could you do just one quick question before we stop?
No, I can't. I have somebody already waiting. I need to move on. But
Okay, I'll be back next week.
Okay.
And I'll give you some time to ask all the questions that you want to ask me.
Okay, yeah, maybe I can ask you questions next time.
Okay, I just want to quickly give a reminder that I have written a book. It's called Proof of Eternity, and it's available as an ebook and as a paperback edition on Amazon worldwide. So everybody who wants to can purchase it. And I made it with the minimum price so that, everybody around the world is able to buy it if they want to.
That's great.
Okay, well, thanks, Jeff, and maybe see you next week. I hope
All right.
I'll get in.
Thank you for staying up with us, and I hope everything's well over there in Germany.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so Annie Palmer. Now, I'm pretty sure Annie's been a guest before, and we'll find out if she has, if this is the same Annie. It's been a long time, I think, since we've seen Annie, maybe about 9 months. But I'm about to find out really quick. And I saw I'm another one of my guests that's been on before asked to start video. That's what it was. She may be popping by, so we'll see if she pops by. Annie.
Yes.
How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. When was the last time we saw each other?
Oh. January.
It was last January. Wow, yeah, it's almost a year.
Yeah.
Almost a year. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Now, you were in a motorcycle accident. Is that correct?
No, I wasn't. I was going to ride a motorcycle, but
okay, I forgot your NDE. I apologize. By the way, I only see your mouth. You've got to move your camera.
Oh,
there you go. Tell us about you've been on before though, right? You were a guest?
Yeah.
What was your NDE? I forgot.
I got feedback. I'm trying to just a second.
And all of a sudden, a bunch of people showed up. 5 people. That's amazing.
Wow. I'm trying to find where you're at now.
Oh, you lost me. I'm there. I'm just probably on a window behind another window, and you can't see me.
Oh, there we are. Okay. Yeah, I had to shut down. I was on the live podcast, and I had to shut it down because that was in the background. But yeah.
All right. Well, what's going on this week?
Well, I've been making a lot of progress with my book. In the last chapter, I've refined it quite a bit, and I've done a lot of editing. I think that's the last chapter. You know how that goes.
Oh, yeah. I guess it never ends.
Yeah, really. But the most striking new code that has been coming in is we've talked about particles and quarks in my podcast. Yes.
I remember that. Yes.
Okay. Particles and quarks are everywhere, which is our connection with everything. Particles and quarks are also kind of more magnetic than they are the cognitive synapse that we've talked about with the difference between the 2 types of communications that we have. The first is the neuron that at the axon that flips the positive and negative, the magnetic. then there's the synapse with the particles, or with the neurons that go across. Excuse me, I'm really kind of trying to get myself straightened out. With the neurotransmitters
Right.
that goes across. Okay, right. When we directly communicate with particles, it's more on the not on the cognitive, but on the feeling light nature. And when I am visited frequently on the astral plane with my twin flame, which is really cool, I'll pull his light energy from him out. And then he does the same, pulling my light energy out from me, which is a significant shift in our awareness, in our specialized world awareness, to advance into that type of a communication network.
So is he your twin flame in the version of your spirit has been, or your consciousness has been separated into two beings? That's the type of twin flame you're referring to, or a twin flame of like your soulmate?
Soulmates are different than twin
That's what
flames.
I thought.
Yes, twin flames are created like twins.
Right.
They're created at the same time, masculine and feminine. He's my image and likeness, and I am his image and likeness, with a masculine feminine balance of a twin.
Okay.
And I went back to, I want to do some past life regression, or past NDE regression. So I stepped into, which his name's, I call him Matthew. Matthew assisted me into experiencing what it was like when I was in nirvana, and I was told who I'm an aspect of. And she told me who my twin flame was. And I stepped into this energy. And right in the energy, I didn't remember this until just recently. And my NDE was in 1981. So it took me, these years to uncover this. I saw a beautiful being who's striking, he's innocent, he's trustworthy, he's playful, and he's also secure in himself, and he's very, very, very well liked. Anyway, I saw his image in my twin flame, and that was what has been the connection up to now. And he's physically manifested, but he's incognito right now, the same as I am, until things pull together a little bit more. But that is a real striking advantage for everybody to get involved with our benevolent light particles, which is a whole bunch of lights everywhere within our body, because particles and quarks are within every single cell. And so when we align ourselves with light, just light, that light knows where your direction needs to be. When we align ourselves with light, then we can fill up with that light, and then gazing out into my Matthew, my twin flame, I will pull that light out from him, because it's the same thing, and him from me.
Now, were you saying that he is on planet Earth right now as well as you are? He's in this 3D realm, but
yes,
but you have not met him.
I have met him
In the physical world,
yes.
Not in the astral, but you've met him in the physical world.
Yes, and he visits me in the astral world. But
what was it like when you met him on Earth?
Some of it's got, because I can't say he's incognito, but when I first met him, I was introduced to him, what his qualifications were, and I said, okay, let's see what you got. Well, that first visit, I took 3 pages of notes. He was so informative. I knew he was really astronomically significant, almost like a shaman would be. And I'm trying to, he's with me now. I'm just trying to get redirected on how far I need to go. there was a couple of, okay, one of the things too that we started to do is telepathically connect. I would hear his voice and he would hear mine. And there was quite a few times when I visited him where he would telepathically say, I'm forgetting. And then one time I looked up at him and said, okay, what am I forgetting? And it was the first time that I had connected the telepathic communication verbally. And he just smiled and looked at me and said, no, that's kind of a big help.
Hmm.
But since then I realized, that, yeah, he indeed is my twin flame. Um,
Now, has he made any comment to you about being the twin flame in physical world, or have you guys discussed this in physical world?
we don't. We discuss things telepathically and connect etherically. We're very, very, very close. Our love is just supreme. We have never ever done anything in the physical except professional, and I'll just let it be at that. Um, but I can see his excitement when things are going to be happening, and I feel him. His presence is here now, and he's smiling. He's really glad to have joined us in that sense that he is here. Um, and I don't know what else to say.
It would be interesting if, like, this is your twin flame, so it's kind of like a big deal, you know what I mean? Like, you would just, in the physical world, would you feel some kind of like energy between you, or magnetism or something?
Yes, huge. But there are things about our relationship that still needs to be kept private and incognito. And I won't go into any further details, but that will probably be a real good, what should I say? The 3D. Yes, he's here. Yes, I know him, but I do know he's here, and he does the same. So it's more like, oh, well, I'll tell you about a dream that I had real briefly. I went over to where he was working, and some friends of mine wanted to meet him, and we went out and we met him, and then all of a sudden, all of the physical material 3D stuff dissipates, just nothing there. He said, Annie, this is the real deal. We were inside the etheric realm at that point, and that's what we're transitioning into, and our connection connects us with the frequency delivering through 3D earth and through our physical bodies and through our awareness, so we can all advance into the third density. And this is not the only, we're not the only ones that are doing this, but what we're doing is getting right to the point where getting our frequencies aligned together within ourselves when we meet together. And that's kind of basically what we're doing now. We're generating what should I say? We're generating our purpose in the etheric realm before it's manifested in 3D. There's a couple of things that we are watching out for. First off, there's a lot of people who have excess baggage and they don't think that this is real, and who am I, that type of thing. Everybody has to get rid of their shadow thoughts, excess baggage, and whatever tells them that they're not pure source. And when majority of people are in that sense, or in that awareness, then it'd be easier for people like myself and my twin flame to come through.
All right, Annie. Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to run. I gave you a little extra time. I give everybody about 10 minutes. I don't know if I explained that or not. And I have people waiting, but I'm glad to see you again and have you come back and share with us. You have to let us know when you finish your book finally, so we can, we can talk about your book and promote your book for you and have everybody check it out. And I wish you the best, and take care of yourself. Thanks for stopping by.
It was nice talking with you.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And that was Annie. Annie, I think now it came back to me. I think in the podcast, she was known as, she had her middle name or her other name. It was Annie Isaacson Palmer. And I wish off the top of my head I remembered what podcast that number was, but I think she was saying it was last January. That's how long ago she was on. And speaking of podcast guests, this is Lorenza Palomino, and she has been on as well. I think she's in the San Francisco area, but I could be wrong about that. Somewhere on the West Coast near San Francisco. She's also a poet as well as an author. I think she's got some poetry for us tonight. And she wrote a book. I think she encountered Jesus in her NDE, if I can remember. And if I can, that's pretty good. Lorenza.
Hi, Jeff.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, nice to see you again. Did you encounter Jesus in your NDE?
Yes, I came face to face with Christ.
You came face to face, and Jesus saw you with no clothes on, right?
Yeah, I was the one that was at Heaven's Gate naked, completely in the nude.
Of course. How could I? There's no way I could forget that. So that was an easy one to remember. So how have you been?
Oh, I've been fantastic. I am so excited. I just love your guest, Shauna, that was on last night.
Oh, thank you. Well, I guess
my God.
I don't know why I'm saying thank you. Good. I'm glad you did.
She is so amazing. I reached out to her via email, and so I hope I get a response from her, because what caught my attention and what inspired me to be on your show tonight is when she said that her ethereal team said that the universe is not what it seems, or it's not what we think it is.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, that like captured my attention, because I wrote a poem which I thought I had published in my third poetry book, but I did not publish it in my third poetry book. It's still in my manuscript, my fourth manuscript that hasn't been published yet. And so I had to look it up on my computer today, and I thought, because I was looking all over for it in my second book, and my third book, and I couldn't find it. I could have swore we published it, but I hadn't published it yet. But anyway, I got so excited, because it was an outer body experience where Christ took me somewhere beyond heaven and showed me. He showed me what the universe actually is. And so out of what I witnessed and what he let me see is how this poem was born.
All right. You have to read it, or you have it memorized?
No, I don't have it memorized. I need to read it. Right. And it's two pages, and it's right here on my computer.
All right, so this is going to be about what space is like, just like what we talked about yesterday.
No, it doesn't talk about what space is like, but it speaks about how it began.
How everything began?
Not everything. The universe itself.
How the universe began. Okay.
The blackness. Watch, you'll see when I read it. He showed me when Christ took me somewhere beyond heaven. I was standing alongside of him, and all of a sudden, through my peripheral vision, I saw this glistening golden sphere of light. And so I turned and I looked, and he's telepathically telling me, and I saw this, it's just suspended and moving through the airflow, through the current of the airflow, I guess. And he told me, he says the universe is not what it seems. He says, I'm going to show you how the universe became. And I'm like, oh, it was so beautiful, and I just watched him do majestic stuff.
Cool. All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so the poem is titled A Virgin Sky. And the poem starts like this. A clear sky, ever so shimmery in its stillness, where God retrieves his light from it. The sonship desired to make an atmosphere of fear and darkness, full of violence, utilizing a virgin sky of unadulterated energy. The virgin sky spends in a majestic ambience of energy until God honored his laws of freedom. The making of an utter world of fear and darkness came into play, and this is where he retrieved his light from part of heaven. When God was self-born, he inherited the veil of dark virgin skies of cleanliness that was everywhere. He brought his love, light, life, and truth into its purity of quality. In tender growth of sovereignty, his light grew to shine until it was aligned with the sea of a dark sky to become his, yours, and mine. A virgin sky in the midst of bare energy until God created his holy family of royalty. This is where we joyously live freely everywhere until the idea to miscreate enters the holy mind and heart of Lucifer. God's light unmasked the night. He honored his laws of freedom and let us house part of heaven with the fear and darkness of miscreations. God is a righteous and honest Father. He knew he would honor his laws of freedom and cloning to permit us to miscreate the opposite of what he and heaven is. For he knew there were plenty of virgin dark sky where he would retrieve his light to honor our own pre-written life scripts and the worlds we would design to bring into synthetic life. A bittersweet life of chaos and pleasures full of screams, tears, fears, pains, and sorrows. All God had to do is retrieve his light, and he did, but said, if you wish to miscreate and bring fear and darkness to life, you will use the ocean of night where I retrieved my light. For miscreation is not permitted under the open sunlit of heaven. Unquote. That was the quote. The stillness of the dark ocean is everywhere. And when God was self-born, he adopted it and dressed it with his love and light. He ordained the darkness and declared it as the kingdom of heaven. Memory loss permits every soul birthed not to remember the blackness of the ocean is part of heaven. And under God's laws of stillness, we ignited the dark arts of universe's eerie movement, only to witness and experience episodes of devastation. Yet the darkness and stillness of a virgin sky is ever so elegant, resilient, and prevalent that no matter what we suspend in its sea of darkness, we can never destroy it. God ordained it and preserved it to return to the divinity of holiness when we are done borrowing it. God permitted us to be the authors and inventors of the fearsome movement of a virgin sky and everything in it. Yet, all of heaven under God's open sunlit remains in holy stillness as we traverse in eerie movement. God knew there was plenty of virgin sky, and he honored his laws of freedom to permit the sonship to ignite the dark arts of your own design as the opposite of what God, eternity, and spirit is.
That was fantastic. Thank you. I like
That was, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
That was such an amazing outer body experience. It really was. And there's a poem that is published in my third book called Self-Born.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I thought this poem was in the third book, because Self-Born, he not only showed me what the universe is. The universe is actually heaven.
Right.
It's nothing more but heaven, because that's all there is. That's all there is, just heaven. But he also showed me on another episode of an outer body experience how he became into existence. And the poem Self-Born is what describes that.
That's interesting to learn how God came into existence.
Right.
Can
It's
you
amazing.
tell us a little bit about how that happened?
It started with it's energy. Everything is energy, and he was a little golden dot, and that golden dot in the vastness of darkness that was just everywhere, began to manifest and manifest and manifest into a bigger sphere of a golden light, which was pure energy, which is pure energy. And within that ball, that gold ball of light, I'm going to sum it up in 4 words, is love, light, life, and truth. And every positive energy, which is what we think, say, and do, which is all energy, is within that whole sphere. So in other words, everything that we think, say, and do that is positive, such as happiness, peace, freedom, every positive word and every positive thing that we do is bundled up all in that 4 word: love, light, life, and truth, in that sphere, because it is all in the bosom, the heart of God, which glistens golden, by the way. And like I said, everything is energy. And
well, I was going to say, this kind of reminds me of a conversation I had with Dr. Bernardo Castro, and he's more of a philosopher and a PhD, not an NDE experiencer, but I think the way he kind of put it is God is evolving, and we're all a part of God, helping God evolve.
Perfect.
I kind of felt like that's what you're kind of saying, or I wanted to ask
Perfect.
you, is that, would you agree with that?
Yes, perfect. And he did evolve. That ball, that golden ball, evolved into spirit.
And still evolving at this point.
Always, forever. It's never ending. Just like royalty. We are all royalty, here to experience poverty, some of us. His royalty, here on earth, money runs out. In heaven, his treasures, our treasures, his and our treasures, our royalty, does not ever run out. It expands. It multiplies and it expands. Nothing ever runs out. Just like here, we have to go to the grocery store every week because we run out of food.
Right.
Yeah. But in heaven, no. nothing. Everything multiplies. Everything multiplies.
So you're on your third book of, or now, well, you have 3 books. You're on your 4th book of poetry.
Yes, I already finished it. I just haven't submitted it to my publisher.
How long does it take you to write a whole book of poetry?
Oh gosh, this has taken me years. I had my experience, my NDE in 2001, and I've been writing since, and I have 8 manuscripts and only published 3, and just finished my 4th one. So it's takes a long time.
Are all your poems about your NDE?
No, not all of them are about my NDE. In fact, most of them are not even about my NDE. The ultimate book that I'm yet to publish is about the dynamics of not only my NDE, but also my physical experiences are in the hands of a publisher right now, reviewing it. That has poetry in it that I wrote, just snippets, just little short poems that are in that book also. It's not a book of poetry, but there is poetry in it that refers to my NDE. My NDE, not plural, but singular. Right. Yeah.
By the way, have you joined my Discord?
No, what's that?
Discord is a website. It's free to join. You can make a profile, and it's mostly used for kids that play video games, and they can talk to each other and chat with each other while they're gaming. It doesn't use very much of your computer's power, but I set one up, and I don't know where we're at to. Almost 160 people are in there, and you can go and chat with each other. You can video chat. You can type chat. You can post pictures and videos and memes and all kinds of stuff. There's a link in the video, under the video here. So for you and anybody else, if you want to hang out with like-minded people, because that's generally my audience is in there, all you have to do is sign up for the free account, and then you can get the Discord. You can get that code, which you click on that, and it just helps you join real easily.
Okay.
So that might be something you might want to check it out. All right. Well, Lorenza, it was great seeing you. I have to run. Well, people are popping in and out. I'll wait. I'll hold you until the next person. I keep seeing people come and go, leaving. So, I was telling the audience earlier, I felt like are you from San Francisco or close to San Francisco?
I'm from San Jose.
Okay, so I was close.
That's 45 minutes from San Francisco. Yeah.
Right. But you wrote, I remember you wrote poetry at the beach or something one time. I remember talking about that.
In the beginning, I used to go to the beach a lot, because it was devastating. A lot of the stuff that was coming through was so strange and bizarre because I was so new. I was so new to it.
How did you have your NDE again? What happened to you?
I was hit by a big rig.
Okay.
I was hit by a big rig, and that's what happened. I was hit by a big rig.
I wish I remember. You don't know the number of your, I've been assigning everybody a podcast number. I don't know
it offhand.
I don't know it either. I wish I remembered it. Do you remember how long ago it was when I saw you? 6 months at least, probably?
Yeah, at least. At least.
6
I
months.
just looked it up the other day, and all I did was put in your name because I couldn't remember the number. And I just looked for that video because I wanted to check something, and because it came up pretty quick.
So if you just put JeffMara podcast and Lorenza Palomino.
Yeah. Yes. And then I just popped up.
That's how you can find her then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So if you guys want to check it out.
Do you want to hear Self-Born?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's hear another one.
You have time for that? Okay.
Yeah, because.
Okay. Now Self-Born was published. It's published in my Glistening Golden Circle. This is the 3rd poetry book.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I haven't read this poem in a long time, so I don't remember what it's all about. I mean, I know it's about God and how he was
By the
self-born,
way,
but I don't
is there something on your camera on your right side? Because there's like this dark line faded that's like maybe something's covering your lens a little bit.
No,
That?
there's nothing.
Okay.
There's nothing. I just turned on the living room light so I could see the
Yeah, it's better.
word
It's much brighter. Looks
on the
better.
book. Okay. So this one's called Self-Born, and this one's a little shorter, I think. Yeah. Okay. And it reads like this. A glistening golden light in the midst of pure cleanliness, a virgin sea of blackness in the open space of emptiness. He breathed in his aroma of fresh energy, a scent ever so warm and cozy, like a newborn baby. It sparked the shimmer of golden light to be self-born in pure delight of his sparkly golden light of uncontaminated adoration. A glistening golden light is pure in its bright sight, all joyful to be energy born, to transform into the God he is and will forever be. A whirlwind of holiness, ordained the pureness of ocean's blackness of liveliness to be his kingdom he calls heaven. His glistening golden presence is magnetic energy, so extraordinary it attracts the black ocean of Agor to his pure, clean, and fresh aroma of everything majestic he is self-created to be. From the core of his mind, heart, and spirit, his tender, mesmeric storm influence your holiness to be free to form in the gentle breeze of charismatic energy. A mechanism ever so germ-free and charming. There was nothing alarming about being self-born into the God he is, who would be the Godzillion number superseding all numbers forevermore. He is our darling Father in heaven, guarding the pure and sparkly open sea of purity, like a white-winged starling that is so enchantingly advancing. He is self-born to bring divine life to the open space of fascinating energy of blackness. But even at his advancement, his glistening golden light remains the foundation of who he truly is forevermore. He is the essence of divinity, infinity, and created Trinity to be his holy and royal family endlessly. For the open space of blackness, he ordained it with his love and light of whiteness, which is infinite. And this is where he creates his heavenly kingdom. God is self-born from a glistening golden light of pure energy, expanding his mind and spirit of divine, holy, wholesomeness. He is a God of love, joy, peace, clarity, certainty, safety, purity, unity, and royalty, the essence of love, light, life, and truth. This is why he is the one and only true God, who is the security blanket of all creation forevermore, a glistening golden light in the midst of pure cleanliness.
That was great. That was more, that had little bit more rhyming to it. Actually, a lot more rhyming to it than the last one.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I love rhyming poetry.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I try to do when I write poetry.
All right. Well, I got to run to the next person, but Lorenza,
Okay.
it was great catching up with you. Great seeing you. And don't be a stranger. Stop by anytime.
Okay, Jeff, I will. And I just want to tell you that you're continuing to be as adorable as ever.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Okay. You're welcome.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Good night. Don't report, and let's get Rose in. 240 people. That means if 1% of you would join, that would be 2.4 people. So I have space for you. And there's Typo. Typo's here too. Great. We'll see what she's up to. And let's see. I hope she's not having trouble. Oh, she's gone. Oh well. We'll get Typo in. We'll see if Typo's still in Massachusetts or where she's at right now, because we were following her. We were following her travels to Arkansas and back.
Hi there.
Hello, where are you? Are you back? Are you in Massachusetts right now, or are you somewhere else?
I'm in Massachusetts, and I'm kind of working up the business plan and checking out real estate, looking at the market, hoping real estate goes down a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, I'm not even clear.
Yeah, you're real
Hi
blurry.
there.
You are real blurry. There you are.
Yes, and so I'm kind of in the middle of that, and but I just wanted to have some laughs with you for a minute, if you don't mind.
Okay, let's do it.
Because you crack me up. You know,
Okay.
you just talked to one last lady, right?
Lorenza.
And Lorenza,
Yeah.
fabulous and beautiful poetry. And oh, I'm incognito because I'm doing laundry.
Okay.
And so anyone that's watching this chat, if you think it matters what you look like, we're spirit, right?
Right.
So when I have to do laundry, I wear a hat and I just get it done.
Yeah, so if you guys are doing household chores and you want to get on with me with the phone,
right.
you can do that.
Yep, totally doesn't matter, right? We
No.
know you can get beautiful when you need to.
Right.
So, okay, so Lorenzo, and you're like, oh, how'd you end up with your near-death experience? And she says, I was hit with a big rig. Like, I think you'll become famous for like the stories of your viewers' deaths. Like, isn't it crazy? I was hit with a big rig.
Right. I think she was also, I was trying to, because I've done so many, I was trying to place it, and I'm pretty sure, you would think was her car hit by a big rig, but I'm pretty sure she was actually like hit, like run over, but not completely run over, like hit her and knocked her sideways off the road. I think.
Yeah, like kind of like a pool table, right?
Right.
Universe was like, let's send her 16 feet. It just cracks me up when I do, like most of your clients, you're like, in order to have a fabulous story or like an amazing life experience that's one of a kind, certainly one of a kind.
Yeah.
Something devastating has to happen.
Well,
right?
What's fascinating is a lot of these people, most of them, if not everybody, who has something that's happened to them really traumatic, hit by a car, run over or something, they're usually out of their body before the impact actually happens, which I find fascinating. So they never felt pain in the first place. And I don't know if you saw the one that I just posted a few days ago with Dr. Mary Helen. But
I was thinking of her,
and
right?
That was the first time that someone is actually given a choice whether to be in their body or not before the impact.
And I think her consciousness thought of that. When I was listening, it caught my attention too. I was like, oh, because when someone tells a story and they're willing to really give the thought behind the moment, I always think of that as like gold. It's gold. And when she said, you're right. When she said that, she said it occurred to her that she had the choice. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, it's just awesome. Awesome. Because what it tells us is like anyone listening to this now actually, when they're watching a bus come whirling to their body, can actually grab onto that and say, I want no pain.
Right.
And invoke free will, right?
Yeah.
Very cool. Like you just brought that to the public. Hello. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I was thinking about when, the most probably, I don't know if he felt much pain. He's a famous NDEer, and he was one, that's another really old one, the one David Ditchfield, where he was on the subway in London and the door closed and his jacket was stuck in the door.
I don't remember
You
that.
never heard that one? His jacket was stuck in the door and he couldn't get his jacket free. And then the subway took off and dragged him down the subway.
And are you saying he did not feel pain?
I think he did feel some pain. I think so. I don't know, how much physical pain. It really kind of, dislocated his shoulder, messed up his shoulder. But that's a one that unfortunately, he wasn't given a choice whether to feel it or not. He, imagine the door closing on your jacket and you just, you're trying to get your jacket out of the door and off you go down the track.
Yes, right. Horrendous. And just another human, maybe someone that doesn't know this stuff or hasn't been lucky enough to come across your streams, would see an event like that and just be tormented for life, like flashbacks, PTSD from the man I saw at the train track, where most of the near-death people, or I'll speak for myself, when I see horrendous, if it's fast, I just bless it. I say, I hope he jumped out.
Right.
Right. And maybe someday when we have surgeries, we'll actually either hypnotize the person to jump out, because you just had like a person that had a fabulous surgery and they weren't feeling it, right?
Well, I don't, it's funny you mentioned that and brought it to my mind. I was watching something else, and we all know about the placebo effect. And even now when they give when they're doing research on drugs, they they're either double blind or triple blind, studies, and the patient is either getting the real pill or a fake pill. Well, all that originally started from some surgeon. I don't know how far back it goes, but he didn't have any anesthetic, and he gave all these the patients, some placebo, some fake. Then it said, like, take this, you won't feel any surgery, and it worked.
Brilliant.
Imagine that. Then that's where the whole placebo thing started from. So imagine they said, okay, swallow this pill and you're not going to feel anything, and people believed it, and he could do surgery on them.
The power of consciousness. Right. Hey guys, we have 200 people. Please thumb this up so that people that are feeling whatever emotion they're in, if they haven't found our group, come on, we need to let it out. And so thumb it up like crazy. I mean, it's free, right? And it takes 2 seconds.
Right.
And call in and say hi, because I want to know what cool stuff so I can learn from you. Please.
Right.
So have a great night, guys. Thanks.
Before you go,
Jeff.
you're a member of Discord, and I don't know if you saw what I posted in Discord the other day of the alien peeking around the corner in someone's house.
I did. And
that was done with I'm planning on, I was editing it today. I'm planning on posting that video tomorrow. I don't have the footage, but this guy has some of the most evidence, if not the most evidence of the planet, of so many videos he's taken and pictures. And I'll be posting that tomorrow. And I give you like his YouTube channel so you can follow along as we're talking about these. But how did you feel when you saw the alien? Did you see it blinking its eye, and did it spook you at all?
It did. And I don't normally do the alien topic only because I kind of have too many topics to follow, so I have to like curb it. But that caught my attention like crazy. And I actually had to get a magnifying glass out with my iPhone. And I was like, let me see that slowly. I'll say that stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah.
By the way, you go ahead.
So he has a fascinating story, and the stuff that we get into it, the stuff that he sees is kind of like some of my NDE guest sees, and it's all kind of, the lines are blurring because it's like he has out-of-body experience contact with them, as well as physical face-to-face contact on Earth.
Amazing. And you had light, what was it, galactic light
Shauna
woman.
yeah.
And then you had the mechanical voice. They were doing people on the other side with voice.
Right.
Doesn't it sound like there's just everyone's using whatever they're comfortable with, technology or their own consciousness? Like it feels like this is our study of this, and you're bringing it to life because you're bringing it to the public.
Right.
Our study of this is just moving forward, plowing, seeing what works, what doesn't work, all of that. Even your alien picture, like shocking.
Yeah, I think
very cool.
I think his machine is that a lot of people don't understand is it's like, you know, he keeps broadcasting in different frequencies. It just keeps revolving. Kind of like if you just took your radio dial and kept turning it and turning it over and over again. And so they catch part of his broadcast going out, and we keep catching part of theirs coming back, but it keeps. But the thing is, and we talked about we don't know who knows the physics yet, but it would be great that once we catch a voice to lock onto that signal on the other side. But you're trying to lock on a signal on the other side of the veil. And that's how difficult it is, how to lock onto the signal through the other side.
Yes, right. How did you feel when you were in the room doing it with him?
Well, I did it the first time. One time we did it before we broadcasted. It was like right after my initial podcast, and we had a little bit more success because I was saying my name and then they were saying my name back to me. And he said that the next day he got on and I wasn't even there and they were calling out my name again.
They were calling out your name again.
Right.
So, wow. So that event, the first time, the word went out on the other side.
But then it had been like 2 weeks had passed and they forgot about me.
They moved on to China or something.
They moved on, right.
You know, it seems to me we could do some really fun experiments with people that have these, like, I have no idea how, but I've been practicing talking with the other side, right? With all of those things, or remote viewing. Now, all of us that have done this, and now you have hundreds and hundreds of people that have talked about their experience. We have all kinds of people here that are willing to experiment, willing to fail, willing to show how good they are, because we know we're evolving, right? And it seems to me that if you get him in there and then you do like a podcast, even if you allowed us from the Discord, if you were like, listen, I'll allow 4 people to come in this Discord and play with him, right? I would love to see if I could attach to on the other side and bring it out. Like, okay, the guys are this, the guys are that. That should be a special upgrade thing that you could do, because you need to pay for that computer. And I would pay to be able to play.
Well, thank you for that. I've already I've got it all. I mean, I've ordered, just a note, and I'm kind of glad you brought that up, that thank you guys for everybody who contributed to that. It's actually been, the whole monetary amount is finished, and so everything is on order now. And hopefully it'll be here in like a week to 2 weeks, because it's like we are so going to be so happy that when we get the new stuff, because I've mentioned before that after not only does it slow down our editing, but after we edit, it takes about 8 hours for the file to process and share into a file that I can post on YouTube. So that's 8 hours. And if there's some kind of delay, or sometimes I've had a delay where I made a mistake and had to go fix something, then I had to start that 8-hour process all over again. And it's like, it's crazy. And then it just, like I said, it really, and then actually the computer, just editing the files, it's slow because the files are just so big. So, I appreciate everybody so very much for that, and I hope that it's just going to make a huge difference, because, you know, I hopefully be able to, I will never have to miss a podcast again because of all this processing time.
Yeah, right. A friend of mine who's an OBEer, he goes to the Boston Irons with me, that great guy. He does art, what's that called? Like digital fractal art, and he's really cool. But those, and I don't know much about it, but I'm willing to find out if this will help your time, because 8 hours is just ginormous amounts of time out of your life. He'll take a fractal thing, make artwork out of it. Now it has to go through some enormous amount of processing. Well, they have a shared processing thing where he sends it out to this network of people that are all into art, and it will process huge things and then shoot it back to you. And I think it's free. It's just shared by all these people, so that they can get all of their art done, right? They all benefit. So I'll be in the Discord tomorrow at noon Eastern time. And by the way, when you talk about Discord, guys, check this out. We can do videos together. We can have video chats. We can have we can have, like, if you're like doing errands or whatever, we can have little text chats. We can do, you can post cool things in there. Like he was describing Discord in one of its functions, but for sharing, or like I've helped people do clearings in their house because they're freaked out about their house feeling nasty. And it was really fast to do it in his Discord earlier. So if you're interested, 12 Eastern, I'm going to be in there tomorrow and just checking things out because it's great. I love hanging out there. But if anyone else wants to chat or whatever, very cool. I look forward to seeing you. Just in case you don't want to be online here and be in a video, then jump into his Discord. Bye. Have a great night.
All right.
Nice talking.
Good seeing you.
Bye.
Thanks again. Was it? Oh, who is it from? Oh. All right. Well, I was trying to get from my wife, and I didn't want to interrupt you, Typo, but thank you for the super thanks. I really appreciate that. Okay, Linda is here. Well, I'm gonna join. She's coming in right now. All right, Linda, you are up next. Oh, wow, I really like her background. Hello, Linda.
Hi.
I really like your green screen background. It looks amazing.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Did you design that?
No, I actually found it online on Pixabay.
Wow, it looks amazing.
Free.
It looks amazing.
Isn't that fun?
It is. So where are you Zooming from?
I'm Zooming from Florence, Oregon.
Florence, Oregon. Okay.
Right on the coast.
Is that near Eugene?
It is. It's directly west of Eugene, right on the coast.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. I've had so many guests recently from actually yesterday, Shauna. She's from Portland, I'm pretty sure. I have so many
We're
guests.
all moving west. We're all moving west.
And I had Steven Simon. I don't know if you saw that one. The guy who did the What Dreams May Come movie. He's in Oregon. And Bill Dolan's from Portland.
Oh.
It used to be Phoenix was like my #1 area of US NDE guests, but now it's shifting to Portland.
Yes. Yeah, it's really interesting because I moved here 4 years ago and I didn't hear about anyone with experiences, but our little town is getting more and more people moving here the same as I did, that they just had to move here.
Wow.
No reason, no job, no nothing. Just had to be here. I was told to be here.
I was told, I probably said this on the podcast before, but I was told a long time ago that I would be perfect in Eugene. My personality would fit there perfect. I don't know. I've never been there. But maybe even better in Florence.
I think better in Florence. Love to have you here in Florence.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So what's going on with you paranormally or supernaturally or spiritually?
Well, I was being nudged to get on the show with you. And that was very strange for me because I kind of hide in the background. Even though I do a podcast on Saturday mornings, I'm usually in the background doing the chat a lot. And but I was pressed to come in and talk about some of my experiences.
All right. Who's doing the nudging and the pressing?
I usually get my pushes back from here, and I get them from a lot of different areas. Oh, so
cool. All right. And you have a podcast as well. What do you do on your podcast?
I do. We have a little new podcast. It's been about a year old. It's called Third Eye Salon. And cool, our format is a couple of hours where we kind of dig in a little bit deeper with people in more of a salon format with 2 or 3 people where we talk about different topics. And so I've been the guest on our show when we first started out, and I've never been anywhere else, just our little show.
Oh, that's great. I mean, it's
so
great
you're
that
my
you
first.
have the shows. All right. Well, let's get started. What did you have an NDE?
I actually had several NDEs.
Wow.
I had a 6-week period in my life where my heart kept stopping. And when it would stop, I went through all kinds of tests. At the end of the tests, the doctor said, we've eliminated everything. It's none of the things I would think it was, but I have no doubt your heart's stopping. You're describing exactly when it comes back online what people described when a paddle hits them. And so I had a 6-week period. I was very unhappy with my life. I was really, didn't care if I was here or not, to be quite honest. And I started in the middle of the night realizing, waking up to this thought that my heart's not beating. That's not good. My first time was, well, that's not good. And then it's like, well, but wait a minute. I'm here. I'm conscious. I'm thinking. I can always feel my heart, but I'm not feeling my heart. Is this an illusion? Is this real? Is this one of those things where you freeze? The logical part of me was going through it, and I started thinking, I can't die yet. I've got a lot to do. I think maybe not. Maybe but it always came back to, I don't want to die because I don't want my parents to have to bury their kid or my husband to wake up next to me dead. And so I'd pop out, and it would feel like when everything first unplugged, it was like somebody took every electrical cord and unplugged me. And as soon as I would decide that I was ready to come back, I would feel a zap, like paddles hitting me, like an electric shock. And that happened probably about a dozen times over that 6-week period. And each time it happened, I would go a little bit further. And I went into this void, and I called it the waiting room. And I don't hear a lot of people. I've heard one other person describe it this way. I didn't see lights. I didn't see a tunnel. I was absolute energy. I was awareness, consciousness. And I was in love. I was completely surrounded and a part of the most amazing love I could ever feel, beyond any words that we can comprehend here. And I knew if I just went further, I could be even deeper into that bliss, that love. And I had a choice. So I would sit there in this waiting room, kind of deciding each time, do I want to go or do I want to stay? And each time I was drawn back to staying. The interesting part was, as this was happening, I'm going through all the doctor's appointments and testing, and nobody can figure anything out. And it got to be one time where I couldn't come back very easily. It really kind of scared me. It wasn't, when I made the decision to come back, I just didn't come back right away. And it scared me. And I went to a holistic fair to help a friend. I was just helping her in this booth. And this little woman came up to me that basically hit my chest level, looked me straight in the face. Well, she looked first at my chest, at my heart. Then she looked up at me and she goes, Want to know why your heart keeps stopping? And I was just shocked. And she says, because you don't want to be here anymore. And you need to decide if you want to be here, because tonight's your last time. Whoa. She says, you've been toying and you have the ability to go. And you need to make the decision. So that was a wake-up call for me. And I had to really sit there and think, do I want to be here? If that's really true, do I want to be here? And she spent, I met her afterwards. I spent about an hour and a half talking with her, trying to decide if I did, if I wanted to move on or if I wanted to stay here, because it was very serious, you know, go to sleep. It's probably going to be the last time if I don't make this decision. I will make it there. And so after we did, she did a lot of energy work on me. And when we were done, she said, oh, by the way, I took, while I was working on you, I took that blade out of your shoulder. You had a couple old wounds from previous lives, but that one actually is still bothering you. And she was right. I actually have a rib that pops out exactly where she said that was. So, you know, for me, I didn't, like I said, I didn't have Jesus show up. I didn't have any of those things, but the love that I felt let me know that everything is okay. And it wasn't that everything is forgiven. It was like, you're perfect. Just the way you are, created just the way you are. You are loved. And we all make mistakes, and there's nothing wrong with you. You are enough. You are loved. And that's really the message I want to get out to people, is that's what I completely believe in my whole being. And when I came back, it gave me a huge difference. And I mean, I've always had abilities. I always hid them. But this was like a choice. This was the first time I actually chose something like this, and chose the lessons that came out of it. We were chatting and somebody asked me on the chat, I also remember when I was murdered in my past life. And so this was the second time someone actually told me, if you don't deal with this, you're going to die. And so I don't know if you have time, I can tell you that little bit, or
this is about your past life, past life regression. I would like
and
to
I don't
learn
know how
about. I don't know. I would like to, but I have 2 people in the waiting room, and I kind of try to keep it to, you know, to keep everybody in and out. But, and I even have questions about your NDE. Let me just get a couple questions in real quick. So did your husband and family know that you kept having these NDEs over and over, or were you keeping that quiet?
My husband knew, because when I would come to, I would sit up straight and do this horrific gasp when the shock hit.
But that part, he knew your heart was stopping.
He knew my heart was stopping.
But were you telling him about the NDE?
I was telling him about it, and he was kind of a, sure, honey, yeah, whatever, you know. But I didn't tell him the whole part about me wanting to check out.
Were you wanting to check out before your heart was having problems?
Yes.
Why were you wanting to check out?
I had a business that was failing. I had a marriage that was failing. I was failing, you know, in my mind, I wasn't doing anything right. And the self-judgment and self-loathing was huge. And, you know, I just was one of those that, you know, it's not worth it. And I wasn't going to commit suicide, not in the traditional sense. But when I say check out, I was deciding whether or not to check out. And when the spiritual healer showed up, she said, you have the ability. You absolutely have the ability, and you will. If you choose, unless you choose not to.
So after you met with the spiritual healer and you made your decision that you're not checking out anymore, how did you change?
Life didn't get a lot easier for quite some time, but I knew walking through it that there was another dimension that I had been ignoring for a long time. I had had experiences as a child. My mother said, stop talking about those things. People will think you're strange. I'm sure people can relate to, those messages that you get. And for me, it was just, I changed. My world outside didn't change, but how I functioned in it did. Like, I knew that there was something more. I knew all the things that I remembered as a child, all of the experiences I had weren't my imagination, that they really did happen. And I just had this empathy for myself and for others that was very different. Right.
Maybe we should just have you back as I should schedule as your own personal podcast. We get everything that way. That's something you're interested in. That. Yeah. We'll have to you can, and I'll say this, and you can, anybody else, because I always say this every Sunday, or usually do, but the best way to get a hold of me is on Facebook, on the Facebook JeffMara podcast page, and you can leave me messages, and a lot of people figure it out, because it's almost every day someone will say, can you please get so-and-so guest on? And that's usually what a lot of the messages come through are. But yeah, maybe you can, it'd be great if you contact me that way, and then we can kind of go from there.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for coming and sharing. And I'm sure
glad I listened.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And hope to see you soon.
It's not as if they were doing this. It was. Go.
Well, see.
Do it.
We are all glad. We are all glad they did that little nudging.
All right. You have a wonderful evening. Thank you. I enjoy your show.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we got Mr. Steven here. I don't think there's been 1 week. Maybe there's been 1 week. I was saying, I don't know if there's been 1 week since Steven has not been on. He is one of our most dedicated.
Hello.
He is one of our most dedicated.
Wow. This show is absolutely amazing. Wow, I am impressed. Wow.
It looks. What have you done to your hair? It looks different today.
Not combed it and not done anything.
Not anything.
Not anything at all. Can you hear this if I play this guitar?
As long as you don't play, yeah, I can, but please don't play anything copyrighted or anybody else's music. Just play your own music. Did you get that?
This is all mine, so.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I don't want copyright problems. You got a song for us? That'd be cool if you can sing us a song.
I don't know if I should sing right now.
Why? Do you write songs?
Just very short ones, yeah. There's nothing. I don't do long ones. It's just everything's really short.
Come on, you are John Lennon. You got to write tons of great.
John Lennon, we wrote the song called, Imagine. Imagine I wrote a song. There it is.
What about writing a song about Monique?
I don't know about that. She likes to slap my leg like that.
Does she like you playing guitar, or when you? I think
if I play. Yeah, if I play music, she makes my foot start tapping like that. And you wonder if other musicians feel the same thing. Because a lot of musicians say that they're getting downloads.
Right.
They're getting, if you listen to these interviews, some of them even say they sold their soul to Satan. I mean, some of them. But you wonder if there's like spirits helping them play too. You wonder about that.
Well, I think even your good buddy Paul McCartney got he got one of the songs from a dream, right?
We can work it out, but then at a certain point, we had trouble working it out anymore, so we just broke up, know.
So, what you got, an acoustic guitar? It sounds like, yes.
Yeah, it's a kid's right now. I have a kid's guitar.
Oh, that's okay.
A lady gave it to me out of her kindness, and it's not in great shape, but it'll work
as long as it plays, right? Here's a great question, but I guess it's impossible. I was going to say, is it possible to juggle and play guitar at the same time?
Why would you want to? I saw someone juggling guitars, but it's like, why would you want to? I don't understand.
That's a good question. If you're new, you may have not have seen, but Steven's come on a couple of times and he's juggled for us.
Yeah, I can do 5 balls.
Right.
So
that's great.
And I learn a trick a day. So the more, I'm sure this would work with other things, but the more you can do, the more possibilities open up.
I agree with that.
More.
Yes.
So it's like, I just dedicated, and this was at the start of the lockdowns and all that. And I said, I'll just dedicate myself to learning a trick a day and just see how far I can go. And I've been learning at least 1 trick a day for however long. So.
Right. I love that. I love what you just said. That's my favorite, the more you can do, the more possibilities open up or become available to you.
That's right. And there's a saying about knowledge too. It's like, the more you know, the more you know that there's more knowledge than you'll are even aware of. So
right. The more you know, the more you know that you don't know.
That's right. That the percentage of how much you think you know goes down, but you're expanding your knowledge, but the percent that you think you know goes down.
Or then you realize that there's things that you don't even know that you don't know.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to mention was something called consciousness calibrations.
Okay.
Where they have and I mentioned this, Dr. Hawkins created a scale of consciousness, and then everything is an energy that fits on that scale somewhere.
Right.
And so positive things give energy, and then negative things take it away. So it's, in order for something to continue on, then it has to have power. They say power versus force. And so everything's on there.
I've heard an interview of this guy once before. It'd be great if I could get him on. He says he's an energy vampire.
That can't be good.
And what he does is he goes to sporting events. And when everybody's cheering for the team, all their happiness, he just loves to absorb all their energy.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily, that's just, you're just being part of the group. I don't think that's being a vampire.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember. It's so long ago that I heard that interview. But,
Yeah, one thing they do with the consciousness, and I wanted to mention this because you've had channelers on there, is that they say a lot of these channelers are having negative entities that are there just to deceive.
Right.
And like I've seen people say, oh, they're channeling Jesus. And I go, I don't think you need to channel Jesus. Or not like that.
Yeah, that is a common, what you said previously, that is a common comment, that the people who are channeling are not, even if they're like an archangel, you're not really, you're being deceived. It's a demon or whatever.
The same with the Ouija board and all that, is like, I think that they're just messing with people. I mean, that's just how I see it.
That's how you see it?
Yeah, I wouldn't
say
that's
it could be
a great way to get spiritual insight. I mean, there's lots of authors that, on here that, like Dr. Hawkins, that's, there's a lot of videos on YouTube that people could listen to that too. Right.
I don't really know, and I don't really like to put my point of view in. It's up for you guys. It's good. It's up for you guys to make your own decision. I let the guests present their experience or their story or whatever they want to present, and then I let you guys decide, because really it's up to you.
Yeah, because you said you modeled this after Coast to Coast, and I really like George Dory.
Yeah,
I think he's a good I never really listened that much Art Bell though.
Yeah.
But I thought of this one. There's something called the Mandela effect. Have you heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, I swear I remember Art Bell dying like a long time ago. And I looked up like, does anyone else remember that? I thought he died, but then he's like, oh, he's back alive, but then he died again. I was like, oh, I guess he's dead now.
Well, he had retired from radio like 3 or 4 times. He retired. He created Coast to Coast, and then he retired. Then he came back. And then one of his wife, well, his main wife, I don't know, main, that's probably not the right word, but the wife that he had when he created Coast to Coast, she died. And then he left.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. And then he left Coast to Coast for good, and then he started up his own show on satellite radio called, I think,
and they kept
Midnight
playing
After Dark or something. And
they kept playing his old shows.
Mm-hmm. And then he finally left that for good, and then eventually he died.
Yeah, so, I think I probably just misremembered on that one. But okay. The number one Mandela effect is in the movie Moonraker. It's James Bond.
Right. Yeah, I've seen that one.
At the end, this one lady smiles and she has braces. At least that's what I remember. My friends remember. I asked them, and I didn't say this is the Mandela effect. I just asked them, do you remember that? And they said they all remember the braces. And turns out she never had braces. So.
Oh, wow. I even forgot. What, can you remind me what the Mandela effect is?
Oh, it's when we swear something was a certain way, and then it turns out it wasn't that way at all. We just misremembered. Some people think it might be interdimensional things going on, or nobody really knows for sure what's going on.
Do you remember? I remember the character in that movie named Jaws.
What the ending was. It was, he has these big teeth. He smiles, and then she smiles back, but she doesn't have braces. We thought it was a joke. Everyone laughed because they said, oh, she's got braces. So it's kind of like he's got these big metal teeth and she's got braces.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I was trying to remember, did Jaws have braces? But he had metal teeth.
Metal teeth. Yeah. I don't think they ever explained how he got them.
Oh, wow.
But that was his little gimmick, that he could bite through metal and all that.
That was a good one. I remember that. Probably around, 1980?
James Bond with Sean Connery was one of my favorite films.
Who's your
Miss
favorite?
Moneypenny, get in here.
All right, bud. Well, I got to run on to the next person. I'm glad
you got to do what you got to do.
Thanks for stopping by. I was telling you that you are my most dedicated and loyal audience member, because you're here every week, and we appreciate you.
Bowing. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the love.
I thank you for coming and sharing with us.
All right. God bless.
All right. God bless you. Bye. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. We got Nate. Nate is up next. And what time is it? It's 8:44. I officially go from 7 to 9. A lot of times it runs over. Because people just keep showing up, and I don't like to, if someone comes, I want to have them on. But at this moment, I'm giving my last call in case no one does show. Hello, Nate. Where are you zooming from?
Hello, Jeff. I'm zooming in from Philadelphia.
Philly. All right. The Fighting Phils.
Yes.
I went to college with a guy from Philadelphia, and he was a hardcore sports guy. So,
like so many others here.
That's why it immediately came to my mind, the Fighting Phils.
The Fighting Phils and the 76ers and the Eagles. Yeah. It's just, it doesn't matter how they're doing. I guess people find inspiration in it, so they're just diehard, which is kind of cool. Yeah. But I was never really...
You're not a big sports guy. I'm not really a big sports guy either. He was my friend, and we would, that was a topic of conversation.
Yeah, it's a great topic of conversation for people in the city. And it's like a positive vibe when things aren't so great. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like another type of religion almost.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That's a great way of putting it, actually. What do you got in your hand there? I see a letter or something.
I have to write notes because otherwise I'll just blank. And some of your guests are really great with knowing their talking points, but I just can never tell if I'm going to be calm or if I'm going to freak out. So as I remember things, I jot them down just in case.
Well, you seem very calm with me now.
Yeah, because I minimized the YouTube screen, so it's just us on my computer. So I'm not thinking about 243 people who are viewing the stream.
Yeah, it's funny. It's the same way as for me. Is I have a second monitor here, and I'm mostly locked in on the guest. But when the guests kind of come and go, or sometimes I kind of glance over, but and I'm so happy for all 274 of you for being there. But when I'm focusing on you, you know, it feels like it's just me and you.
Yeah, and I'm sure as you do it more often, you kind of are able to switch back and forth and forget about everyone watching for those couple of minutes. And I normally do things on Zoom, but for some reason, when there's a crowd of spectators like that, it makes me like dry up in my mouth and freak out a little bit.
You're doing terrific.
It's good stuff.
All right. So what do you have for us tonight?
Well, I was actually encouraged to come on because there was that woman who was just here talking about her heart. Right. And that triggered something that I never really thought to mention as a supernatural experience. But in many ways, I guess it could have been. I've always had the feeling of an irregular heartbeat for most of my life, an arrhythmia. And it wasn't until maybe 3 or 4 years ago that I decided to get it checked out. And they put a heart monitor on me. And sure enough, it was diagnosed as a certain type of arrhythmia with around 16,000 extra heartbeats per day.
Wow.
But apparently that's just the gray area. So I went to one cardiologist and he said, well, you're young, so it should be fine. And I went to another who mentioned about having this procedure called a cardiac ablation, where they go in through your leg up to your heart and they zap the areas that are firing irregularly in order to stop the arrhythmia. So I was like, oh, this is cool, but I didn't want it to get to that point. However, I was also working at a job that wasn't something that was a passion. It was me chasing money and kind of being walked on as a doormat at this particular job. And I wanted to leave soon after I first started, but I had been there for about 4 years, almost 5 years. So I just thought, I'm supposed to keep on going. This is how, life works. But clearly that wasn't the plan for me. So I started praying a lot, praying to Jesus, praying to Mary to just stop this because the medication wasn't working and I was terrified of the procedure. And on the day of the procedure, I was in the hospital and they had me in the cath lab, cardiac cath lab, and I was all hooked up and they couldn't detect any arrhythmias. And they gave me drugs to try to promote arrhythmias, speeding up my heart and then slowing down my heart. And they couldn't detect it. And as a result, they couldn't do the procedure, which was like a total shock in a good way and a bad way. And I thought to myself, if this is my prayer being answered, I also need to look at my life and I think, as the previous guest said, change how I go about being in the world. Like that quote, I love that quote from the Bible, like, be in the world, but not of it. So I made the tough decision to walk away from that job, to resign from that job. And at first face some shame because, a lot of us are raised with this ideal that you have to pursue your craft, your business, your career hardcore. But I've since learned to navigate beyond that. And it's not been easy doing things on my own way, but I've never had any issues with those extra beats since that time.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, maybe there's something.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but do you mind sharing what that job was?
I was a pharmacy technician.
Okay.
So it was a level 1 trauma pediatric hospital, but it was also in a rough part of the city. So the personalities were not exactly pleasant to work with. And I just tried to fight it out, fighting fills. And I love the job itself. The job is great. And there were some really great coworkers there, but it was just a lot of disconnect. And I feel like maybe that was a test for me to accept failure. Not that it's failure, but accept what feels like a loss and to get used to it and to be okay with it, because that's how life goes.
Have you considered being a pharmacy tech at like a retail place like CVS or something?
I've thought about it. Around here, it's pretty crazy at the CVS where I go. And I've been a farm tech at a retail pharmacy that was an independent pharmacy. That was rough as well. I think it's just location, volume, the amount of people.
Right.
But definitely, I'm willing to go back again. I've since changed course a little bit, but I keep my certification active just in case, because it is a cool career or a cool little job.
Right.
So,
what are you doing now?
Right now, I tutor English. I tutor English online. So I've always enjoyed medicine and languages. So in trying to align with spiritual callings, I thought instead of going against the grain, because that's what I was raised with, you just have to work, go with something that you love and see if it feels better and if it flows easier. And sure enough, it does. It's not great money, but it's experience and I really enjoy it. So, I'm trying to manifest something bigger to make it more of a career type job. So
too bad that there's COVID, because you could I hear that people can move to Asia and be English tutors and do really well, and you'd get to travel on top of that.
Yeah, I was considering it. I had even applied to China, actually, specifically, right before COVID, and it didn't work out. But the timing was interesting because then COVID happened and we heard about people getting locked down over there. And I was like, maybe that was something supernatural too, like being guided. If you believe that we're being guided, maybe that was meant to be. So,
well, I think your story is amazing because your whole heart problem just seemed to be stress related.
It seems like that. And that's kind of scary. Yeah.
And it's great that it worked out, because they may have done irreparable changes to your heart when it was completely unnecessary.
Exactly. And that was my fear. That's why I was praying so hard, because of course I trust, I believe after seeing all of your guests that there's something more, but I know free will is at play and I didn't want to make a bad decision. So yeah, it is amazing. And I'm going to take any steps from now on more seriously to not go into that kind of environment, or at least to respect myself. Make sure you're respected wherever you work or wherever you go in life.
Do you feel like tutoring English is your, is that the direction you feel like that you should be in?
Yes, because it feels so easy to me. And before, I used to think when something felt easy in your life that you need to navigate away from it. But I think staying in your comfort zone might be the solution for some people, because that's how you can get the most impact. So I really like this pathway. But that being said, I still maintain that pharmacy technician certification.
Yeah, you might as well keep that license. Yeah. I never really speak about this, but I'm also a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, if anybody knows who he is. But he's a big time, you put his name in, the guy's all over the internet, but he started out, his family, I think, had a wine selling business, and he was doing YouTube at the very beginning way back 2006, 2005, and he was, he started out doing wine reviews, but blew up into this super huge guy and social media and business and all this stuff. Anyways, one of my things that I really like that he says is that you should, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, but we're always worried about what our weaknesses are in life and trying to make them better. But he says the opposite. Find out what your strengths are in life and stay with your strengths and play to their strengths. Don't worry about your weaknesses.
Right. I mean, I've heard about law of attraction. It's interesting. I haven't heard of him, but I'll look him up. I've heard about law of attraction, and I think there's something to it. Play to your strengths. And especially in the era of social media, I mean, that's when your best personality traits shine through, and that can attract so many other opportunities. So there's no harm in trying, just opening up your computer. And even with what you're doing, I mean, look how many people have been looking for that outlet, and finally it's here. So including myself, because I've been following this stuff for a few years. From other outlets. So it's cool to have this direct access to just share experiences.
Right. All right, Nate. Well, hey, man, thanks for coming and sharing with us tonight. You had a great story, and I appreciate you.
Definitely. And I have a list, so I guess I'll start coming back now that I've broken the ice.
Yeah.
So
and let me you're a great person to ask. So there's 3 now. It's gone up. You had a compelling story because it got busier while you were here.
There we go.
It was up to 300 people. So you raised the energy here. How was it sharing? How was the experience? Because I think there's a lot of people that are on the fence, but they're worried and nervous about it. How was it for you sharing your experience with all of us? Was it as bad or as scary as you thought it would be?
No, because the point of doing this for me is to share it with other people. Maybe they've had experiences with organs or health that they never put the pieces together with. And it's just to help other people. It's really not about me, honestly. So it's not scary at all. And I felt pushed as well to come on and say it. So maybe somebody out there needs to hear it, and maybe that's going to attract more people. But yeah, not scary at all. No.
All right.
It's releasing. It's like a weight lifted off because I said what I had to say.
Right.
So.
That's great. So that's great. Yeah. I hope everybody got that. If you want to.
Come on down.
Come on down.
Yeah.
All right. All right, bud. Well, I hope you see you again. Thanks for
definitely. Thanks for bringing me on.
All right. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. That was a really excellent guest sharing what he shared, but everybody's excellent, right? And I appreciate everybody for not only watching, but for also sharing. So I want you guys to all know that my wife, we really appreciate you guys. It's 9 o'clock, and nobody else is here. I made my last call. So once again, tomorrow, I hope you guys will enjoy this. I will be having, his name is Peter Maxwell Slattery. He is probably one of the most, if not the most, alien contactee out there right now. He has amazing videos. We're going to be talking about them. I hope you will enjoy his podcast with me tomorrow. And on that note, thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I hope to see you back next Saturday. Bye-bye.